All right. So this is the Black Eel podcast. So for those of you who don't know, which is probably nobody, we
Everybody.
exactly. See, I'm already messing up. So the point I'm making is this is the Black Eel podcast, and what we are doing here is we're going to be talking about these Marvel, Star Wars, DC Comics, movies, shows, and the comics themselves as well. Talking about what's in the news, what's coming up, and we'll be talking about it and our thoughts on it and where we think the future is going to be holding for all three areas. Black Eel is the name of the podcast, and it actually stems from both of ours gamer tags. So mine is Beastly Eel, and my cohort over here is Black Ice. But you can call me Scott, and this is Mike over here. He's very shy in the beginning, but don't worry, he will start talking soon.
You're just
So
doing such a great job talking. I've had no need to,
for once, don't worry, he will correct me every time I make a mistake, and that will not change.
particularly
Um,
with names.
Exactly. So, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be producing this podcast on the 15th of every month and the end of every month as well. So, there'll be two episodes a month, and we'll be talking about, like I said, Star Wars, DC, and Marvel. And the plan is, even though each podcast is going to be slightly different, we're going to be talking about those three topics overall. So for this week, actually for this episode, I should say, not this week, this episode, we're going to be starting off with Star Wars, leading into DC, moving on to Marvel, and then we got a little way we end this, or going to try to end it. So we'll see how it goes. So we're going to move right into, unless Mike, do you have anything you want to add before we move right into Star Wars?
Not really. You covered everything. It's as far as I can see.
All right, so we're going to be moving right on to Star Wars. So we're going to be talking about the Bad Batch first. So, Mike, what are your thoughts on the Bad Batch so far? Because it's only been three episodes.
So far, these three episodes have been great so far. Episode one, when we talked about it at first, episode one, the way it ended, if they just released one episode, would have been like, seriously, this is kind of a little letdown. But then episode two picked up, and then episode three just was absolutely phenomenal. Just
Well, I was just going to say, for me, so like I 100% agree with you on the first episode in the sense of it was such a cliffhanger. I would have been so PO'd if
yep.
they ended it that way, and I'm glad it was a two-episode premiere. But my biggest thing was for episode three when it first started, my first thought was, don't tell me this is a filler episode. That was
Oh
my
yeah.
first thought, right? But it was so good
hmm
that even if it's not actually like going towards like the main plot, it was just that good. You know what I'm saying? Like I had no issue with it whatsoever, and I definitely felt like it definitely showed how weird the internal empire is. I guess I would say, especially for the stormtroopers specifically.
What do you mean?
So like we knew that the clones were originally a majority of the stormtroopers.
Yep.
And then we knew from season one that they wanted to replace them
hmm
with people who were more religious to the empire, more followers.
Yep.
Because that guy, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Was he an admiral? What was his title? You know what I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about. Oh my God.
I can't think of his title, but he's the boss right now of
Yeah.
this squadron. And the
Commander?
biggest
No, not commander.
no,
No.
no, because it's higher than a commander.
Yeah.
I don't think it was admiral though. Was it
No.
grand admiral?
No, it definitely wasn't admiral.
At the end. He got a promotion at the end, but I can't think of it. But anyway, not the point of the story. The point is he really wanted to push for non-clones in the Galactic Empire. I mean, in the Galactic Army, mostly for the fact that he didn't trust them. Because they were so loyal to the Jedi, how can they be loyal now? Which does make sense. But I think the big thing for me was episode three really showed that the clones are realizing that they might have screwed up.
Some of them are starting to wake up, definitely. It leaves me wondering too, just because I know, obviously, as they talked about in season one, uh, that some of them had their inhibitor chips removed. So
Mm.
Is this the clones just starting to realize that they like overcoming the inhibitor chip, kind of like, with the Bad Batch, where that just didn't work on them anymore because now it's just so far past and they're starting to learn all this information, and it's just because they haven't had the order, now it's starting to wear off? Or like, did they actually remove the chips and now they're just acting on their own, just like Crosshair, you know?
Yeah, no, and I think that's a huge piece because like what I was thinking about too after that episode when he was talking about Commander Cody going AWOL,
Hmm.
I was starting to question, did he actually go AWOL? Because we saw him in Rebels, right? Didn't we? Or did
No,
we only know that Rex? We only saw
Rex.
Rex in Rebels, right?
Cody has not been seen outside of Clone Wars
And
at,
technically Bad Batch now.
and now Bad Batch. His last appearance was whatever Clone Wars was. I don't ever remember him being talked about or seen in Rebels or any other Star Wars media. It
No,
just
and that's
his
fine.
main one.
I just remember that there was a bunch with Rex, and I couldn't remember if one of them was Cody, but I don't remember. I couldn't remember his name being said. That's why I
No,
wanted to double check with you. But yeah, I think the big thing for me was the fact that obviously I was like, oh wow, Cody got a conscience, right? And he obviously showed that he did. But I think the part that gets me is, or what really scared me, is the fact that did he really go AWOL, or did somebody rat on him about him not following orders and he was terminated?
I mean I don't think he was terminated. I think is going. I think he's being re-educated.
Okay, fair enough.
I
But you
think
understand?
someone ratted on him that he didn't follow orders, and the whoever the guy I'm already blanking on the guy's
His
name that
governor.
they
It
went.
was the governor.
Yeah, the governor that they went to go save. I think he told them that he didn't follow orders. Crosshair's the one that pulled the trigger, and now he's been detained. And if he's not being re-educated, he's at least just in prison somewhere, dying for they're trying to where he's going to be spending the rest of his life.
Yeah.
But
I
I
mean,
think I think he's going to obviously. Personally, I think he's going to be coming back later in the season.
okay. I mean, I definitely think he's got to join Rex. If he's not being detained, if he's not being captured, there's no way he's not going to go find Rex.
Yeah, I think I think he's going to. Um, I think he's going to either join up with Rex or join up with the Bad Batch later down the road
Hmm.
and join their team because now he's not going to have anywhere to go. I don't know if he's going to be joining Rex just because, like I said, he's not in Rebels. So I feel like if he was joining Rex, we would have seen him in other series with Rex.
Well, the reason why I say that is it's not a guarantee that he would survive.
That's also true.
I mean that the one thing is if he joins Rex, he can get killed off. I mean, not that I want that to happen, obviously,
Or go do
but
his own thing.
correct, exactly. But I definitely think because it's so fresh and new that they would have joined forces. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because it would be just stupid for them not to. And I think the other thing too is the fact that they don't have to ruin Rebels with what's been going on in the sense of because I really don't think that any of them really knew the difference between any of the clones other than their like service number.
No.
So they all look the same. So if you saw a clone, it would have been just like, except for obviously Task Force 60, no, 99?
Yeah.
60,
Yep.
no,
No.
90.
Task Force 99.
Um, and that they would, they would, other than those, because they stand out more than the others, they wouldn't know the difference between any of them because they were just all the same. And what makes it even worse is the fact that they all have the same armor because they're not allowed to have individuality.
Yep.
But yeah, no. The other thing too was the for the end of episode 2, we saw internal conflict with the Bad Batch. Granted, it was very minor, but it was definitely noticeable.
Hmm.
The difference between what they want to do with the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Hunter wants to make a life for Omega, where the rest of them kind of really want to help out and stop the war. I don't want to say all of them, but definitely Echo.
I think they're just more along the lines of realizing that they can't. This is what they're made for. This is what they're meant to do. They're just gonna. There's no. There. I think they said in the episode, there's no point in running all the time because the Empire is going to continuously be on their tail. So they might as well just fight and try to make a difference instead of just always running. Because, like I said, the Empire is not going to stop expanding. They're just going to keep coming at these new, like in episode 3, it was an independent territory, and now they're trying to slide their way through it. So it's just going to be a constant trying to run away when might as well just do what they're made to do.
Yeah, agreed. 100% agreed. I think the other thing too is based on the 3 episodes, where do you think this season's going to go? Because honestly, there's so many different directions that I'm not even comfortable saying one. And I granted it is early because it's supposed to be 16 episodes, just like the first season. And we're only in 3 episodes deep. So we haven't even, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like we're not even halfway and we're not even a fourth of the way. So
Yeah.
it's like it's really tough to figure out, but my guess would be or what I thought this season was going to be was them buying their freedom from Sid so they can finally do what they want to do, which still could be the premise of the season,
Hmm.
but I feel like there's going to be a bigger piece somewhere, whether it's the clones rebelling against the Empire or majority of clones, or figuring out what to do with these clones that are not obeying him anymore. But something's got to happen. And I think the other weird thing, too, for me was to everyone's knowledge, other than obviously Crosshairs and the head, the Admiral, or whatever you want to call him, they all think that Task Force 99 is dead.
Yep, because of the false report.
Correct. That one got me too. That false report um, when he shot the clone.
Yeah. Yeah, no, at the end of that episode when they showed that at the end, I was my jaw dropped. I was like, no, yeah, like I was just like I was just shocked. I mean, obviously not surprised, but I thought that was going to be a new I thought that was going to be a new clone that we were going to get to introduce and learn a little bit more about, but clearly that went out the window.
Well, I'm also noticing too that the sheer fact of, or what I really got out of episode 3 was they're getting rid of the clones.
Yes.
And I think, regardless of how they're doing it, whether it is they're leaving on their own, or they're being killed, or they're being tortured, or whatever, they want to replace them with people who are going to be religious to the order because they want them to. Because it was obviously talked about in season 1 where followers who want this, you know what I mean? It's easier to convert people and force them into it than it is to have the clones be programmed into it, or
It's
so
cheaper.
he thought. It was also cheaper too, but it was also a faster way because the clones you needed training and everything else, where you would take over these places and have these people be trained and then move them out.
Yep.
I mean, you're absolutely right. It would be cheaper also, but it's just one of those things where, especially with them taking over so much at once, they need a faster way because there's no way they're going to be able to generate clones fast enough, even if they continued that project, which
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
they do, but not for that particular reason.
It's just, I mean, there's all sorts of arguments that they want to end that they want to end the clones. Just like you said, the loyalty, the human loyalty that that inspires that the Empire inspires. The cost of forming the clones, not enough time. I think they were saying about other reasons. They thought that human soldiers would have been better, which Crosshair, if I remember correctly, in season 1 just absolutely shut that idea down. But
Yeah, but I think the idea too is, and you brought up a good point in the sense of showing the the Galactic Empire that we are not building our soldiers, we are the soldiers.
mhm.
We are building together, and I think from a political standpoint, that sounds better than we built our army.
Yeah, that's true.
Because now
Yeah,
there's no more syndicates. I mean, not syndicate. Did I say that right? The robots. What were they called? What was there? It was the Republic, and begins with an S. It's gonna bother me.
It's bothering me too that I don't remember it right now.
Anyway, we'll move on from that then. But anyway, so the point
That's
I'm making
embarrassing.
it is. Um, so the whole point I'm making is like at that point it didn't matter because it was machine over organics.
Separatists.
Separatists, thank you. So yes, so it what like with the separatists they had robots. So us creating clones was a completely different issue. I'm sorry, the Republic creating clones, not me. I wasn't personally there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You wish.
percent do. But the whole point I'm making is it looked better for the Republic to create these clones because they were organic. They were machine-like in the sense of they were able to be organically made, but they were better than the robots. But now that there are no more robots, we're fighting other creatures. That it looks better that there are people from liberated planets, because I want to use their terminology, liberated planets, helping out as stormtroopers to help spread the empire.
Yeah, it boosts morale too.
Correct. I mean, obviously, the further you go into the empire, the more you realize how corrupt it is, which is one of their biggest issues that they've had.
Hmm.
Obviously, we've seen it in the future multiple times in
Yep.
multiple instances overall. But yeah, definitely overall, I'm very excited about this series and looking forward to seeing where it goes. Because we did agree that first season was very slow with a lot of filler episodes.
Yeah, season one was 90% filler.
Correct.
The first two episodes in season one were killer, and then the last couple of episodes were absolutely phenomenal. And then just the middle was just like, all right, I'm ready to move on. Come on, let's
Yeah,
go.
the only good filler episode, in my opinion, was when we got to see the episode from the woman from Rebels, Tentacle Head, Helena.
She was in it,
Remember? Yeah, she was a young girl, very young.
right? Okay.
Um, and so we got to see her. Like that was the only filler episode that I was actually like, you know what I mean, like kind of
Mm.
excited about. But like all the others were just kind of there. So I'm hoping they continue this trajectory.
Yeah.
Uh, I would imagine that there's got to be at least a few filler episodes,
Oh yeah.
uh, but I can't imagine them having too many.
I hope not.
Because I'm hoping not too. All right, so I got nothing else to say on the Bad Batch. So I think we should move on to talking about what's coming up in Star Wars. So I'm gonna tell you everything, and then we'll talk about each one individually, what we think we know, and what we're gonna be doing in the future is each time we do this, we'll talk a little bit more about them because as it gets closer and closer, we'll learn more about them or whether or not they're canceled or been postponed either indefinitely or till next year. So
Yep.
for right now, what 2023 is supposed to have, and I'm putting that in quotes, the one thing for sure, although there's not a specific date that I could find yet, The Mandalorian season 3 just said February. If it has a date, I didn't see it, but I
We're supposed
definitely
to be getting a trailer on Monday.
I would imagine they would have the date then. Would be my guess. We have Ahsoka. We have the Skeleton Crew, which is going to be a movie in 2023 supposedly. Rogue Squadron in 2023 with a question mark. It might be 2024, and then the Acolyte, um, which from the get go said either the end of 2023 or the beginning of 2024. So I kept that on there. So obviously the Mandalorian season 3, we know that he's going to be going back to the Mandalore. I think that's
We're
going to be
gonna
a
be
big.
we're gonna be looking at obviously we're gonna be I feel like we're gonna be looking at the drama between Bo-Katan and Mando. I think she's gonna be trying to get that dark saber. Question whether or not Mando is very going to be resisting it or going to be trying to unite Mandalore because he's now the chosen one or whatnot, or if he's going to try to be getting back into his little cult.
Well, I think the other thing, what I would imagine is when he gets to Mandalore, she's going to be surprised. First off, she's not going to be mad or completely mad, because she does know he has the dark saber, and in her way, she can probably get it,
Hmm.
right? But I think her concern is keeping it a secret that he has it long enough so nobody knows it. You know what I'm saying? Like the people of Mandalore, she might want to keep it a secret that Mando has the dark saber.
I mean, I don't know if that's really if that would be such a huge issue for her because she wants to unite. She wants Mandalore united. She just wants to be the one in charge of it. Um, Whether or not the Mandalore knows that he has it or not, I don't think it will really affect her because if they're going off of traditional ways, she just has to win it in combat. If he has a following, it doesn't really matter. If she wins, the following is going to follow her anyways because that's how the tradition works. Just like how just like in Clone Wars when Darth Maul killed whoever it was who had the dark saber. Then the people of Mandalore bent the knee. They didn't. There was a select few, Bo-Katan being one of them, who refused, but the majority of them would honor what the tradition is.
Okay. All right, so you're thinking more of the fact of, regardless that it's not in her possession, she would not be mad that the dark saber is on Mandalore, even though it's not in her possession.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to be upset about it, but
But it's
I
not
don't.
going to be a detriment.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's in a Mandalorian's grasp, I think I think that's how she's going to rationalize it. She's going to say, you know, it could be worse. You know,
I think what might happen is that Gorgo is going to be wielding the dark saber.
repeat that name.
I'm not saying it again because I know it's wrong. The child. What's his name?
I hate you so much.
What's his name?
Grogu.
Gorgu?
Grogu.
Grogu. Okay.
Gorgu.
Grogu. Whatever. Anyway, the child. How
You're
about
gonna
that?
mix it. You're mixing it with Grogu and Goro. Come
Same,
on.
same thing. They're both the same creature. A 4-armed, 10-foot tall creature, and a 50-year-old baby who's
Yeah,
about what, a foot tall? Not even.
yeah.
Um,
Totally the same character.
100%. 100%. But no, I have a feeling that he would be actually wielding the dark saber, and she's gonna have a huge problem with that, and she's gonna get really PO'd, and that's I think gonna be a big conflict.
That would be
Because
interesting.
out of anybody who would be able to use the dark saber properly, it would be him.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm not saying he should have it. I'm stating that it would make the most sense that Mando would let him use it in some sort of capacity, or even if it's not to use it, he gets hurt in some way, and then he uses the Force, grabs it, and then uses it because he knows how to use a saber, a lightsaber. It's been years, but he knows how to do it. He's been trained on it. It was mentioned with when he was talking to Ahsoka.
Was it?
He had training. They didn't specify how much training he had, but he had training with a lightsaber.
Oh, I thought he hadn't gotten to a lightsaber because when he was with training with Luke and Luke showed him the lightsaber, it seemed like he was, in awe.
Well,
I mean,
I don't think he was able to keep it. I wonder if they have training ones.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
so I think
it wasn't his. I don't think it was. He got his lightsaber yet because he hadn't gone to get his kyber crystal. But
correct. No, I don't think he didn't have a lightsaber for himself. I know that, but I think he was trained in it because I think you're trained before you get it.
yes, a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, they're not gonna go over everything until you get your own, but
Hmm.
they have to go over basics.
Yeah.
Um, and then after the Mandalorian, it's supposed to be Ahsoka, which is supposed to take place in the Mandalorian era.
Hmm.
Uh, so we're imagining there's got to be flashbacks because what's his name is going to be Darth Vader.
Yep.
And
Christian
then we
Haydenson.
also know. I'm sorry.
Christian Haydenson.
Yep. And we also know that Ezra is going to be in it.
Yep, they have cast for most of that squad.
Correct.
Hella's in it. What's her face? I always forget her name.
Selena.
Selena, thank you. And Ezra, they're
Once I
all,
got,
huh?
I said for once I got the name.
Yeah. Um, and Ezra, they all have actors who are confirmed in it, so
And
they're all
Grand
gonna.
Nephew Ron is supposed to be in it too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's gonna be the. I think he's gonna be the main villain, which we do not know who is Thrawn yet. We do not know who the actor is that's playing Thrawn, which is killing me.
Well, there was rumors that it was going to be the voice actor, correct?
Yes, that was the most recent rumor, but it hasn't been confirmed yet.
But nothing's been confirmed. Okay, but we know he's supposed to be in this show. We
Yes.
don't know the full anything about it. Meaning,
Yep.
like, we don't know how much he's involved, but we do know he's in it. And
Which
so we also
I
know.
just can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
Well, I agree, 100%. And then after that, it's supposed to be the Skeleton Crew. So the Skeleton Crew is supposed to be a movie that comes out in 2023, and this is the description I found. Be prepared. It's a kid-centric adventure story. It's Goonies, but Star Wars.
Oh Jesus.
So supposedly, now there's not much information on it, but supposedly it's a group of kids who are traveling in space and trying to deal with what's going on in the universe. So supposedly, what I've heard, and I don't, this is not confirmed, that it's supposed to take place in the Mandalorian timeline. So like that piece
Okay.
in the universe. So the Empire has been destroyed, but not completely. You
The
know, they have
remnants. Yep.
correct, but overall the fullness of the Empire is destroyed, and supposedly it's unclear of why these kids are in space, where they're going, or if they happen to be, any of that is unclear. But they supposedly like combined it with like or described it as like a combination of like the Goonies and Stranger Things. So like a coming of age tale for these kids,
Hmm.
but in a Star Wars setting. I think that'd be kind of cool. I
Yeah.
don't know how they would do it necessarily, but I'm not against it. It doesn't sound like it's something I would 100% hate. Um, the next one, on the other hand, I, it's called the Rogue Squadron, and it's supposedly coming out in 2023, but it might be pushed to 2024, just like most things. It's supposed to be about a Rogue Squadron, which is very, very,
Shocking.
shocking. I know.
You tell
Very
me
little.
lies.
I know. It's very little known about it. It's supposed to be like about the fighter pilots themselves and like dealing with what's going on, but it based on the little information I know, and right now it's not something I'm super excited about. But I think it's more for the fact that there's not much information on it. Like all we know, it's going to be focused very much on like the fighter pilots. So I would imagine it's got to be more of like a like I don't want to say like Top Gun, but like something similar where like they're
Mm.
training to be prepared to do what they need to do.
Yeah.
Would be my guess right now, based on the information I know,
Hmm.
which is not my cup of tea necessarily, but I'm gonna watch it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And then this one we've talked about and we've been excited about for a while, the Alkalate. Did I say that right?
Acolyte. Yeah.
Yeah, close enough.
Close enough. I'll give it to you.
So what gets me is we know this is well before episode one. I think it's centuries before or a century before,
I do not remember.
but it was at
I
least
do.
a
It's
minimum of
before.
100 years before
Yeah.
episode one. It could be more than that, but I know for a fact it's at least 100. What got me was, Mike, what do you know about this other than that? Did you know anything else? Because I did actually learn more about like the topic or anything else of like what the story is going to be about.
Was this is the one that's about the supposed to be about the Night Sisters, right? Or am I?
So that's not been confirmed.
It's the rumor is going to be about the Night Sisters. Yes.
Correct. So like what's been notified right now? It's being classified as a mystery series.
Hmm.
So it's actually where a Padawan and a Jedi Master reunite on an investigation on a series of crimes around the building of the Republic.
Oh, okay, that'll be interesting.
So it's unclear on whether the Night Sisters are involved, but they have been talked about, obviously, as rumors. So
Hmm.
they could be the culprit for what goes on, especially with their especially with, we know that, oh my God, Palpatine goes in to the Night Sisters to get Darth Maul.
Yep.
So we know there's got to be a connection there somewhere, so it shouldn't be all that shocking that the Night Sisters are involved into the darkest part.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, and a lot of like, I mean, we don't know much about it yet, so it's a lot. And if it's in, like you said, if it's supposed to be a century before the Republic, it's going to be before all of, before Palpatine, all that other stuff. So
Correct, and it's going to be before what's her name, the one that was the head, the Voodoo Mother. What was her name?
that I don't
Because
remember.
you know who I'm talking about.
I
It
know
was
what you're talking
before
about.
she was in power. It had to have been her mother.
Hmm.
But anyway, so what has been announced though is the lead character is actually the main character from Squid Games,
Yeah. Yep. I heard that.
which I'm very interested in. I'm very excited to see him in it. I got to see like a screen, so they must have already started filming because they already had him on set. I couldn't see much. It was just like it was a basic Star Wars background. It looked like it was the Republic. You know what I'm saying? Like it did not look like anything that really stood out.
Decrepit.
Um, yeah, nothing like there was no like you didn't see a dead body. You didn't, you know what I mean? There was none of that. It was just him. I would imagine somebody from the crew talking to him about what he needs to do, and
Hmm.
that was it. But yeah, that's everything that's supposed to be coming out in 2023. I didn't hear much. I mean, I didn't look at 2024 mostly due to the fact that Disney right now is kind of like really reassessing their timeline on everything. So I think they've stopped announcing when stuff's coming out now until they get a firm calendar on everything, especially
I,
for the stuff that's been backlogged.
yeah, they're just in a lot of they've been getting a lot of heat lately because people have to find something to complain about. So I think they're taking, like you said, they're taking a step back and reassessing everything and making sure everything's still going smoothly. But I mean, even if something is announced, it could always change at the last minute. And they could push it forward, they could push it back. So until it comes out, we'll see what happens.
Correct. The only thing that's 100% going to happen in 2023 is The Mandalorian season 3.
Yep.
Obviously the Bad Batch, but it's already started. But The Mandalorian season 3. There's no way they're not going to have it this year because they already pushed it back from December of last year.
Yep.
They're not going to be pushing it back anymore. They could push the other stuff, which wouldn't be the end of the world, but I would imagine they got to keep one more for sure, possibly two for this year, would
Oh
be
yeah.
my guess. All right, so we're going to move on to DC, which is going to be your forte.
My forte. Yep. And how are we gonna start this? We want
Um,
to.
so what we're going to be talking about in this segment is we're going to be specifically talking about a new comic series, or a newer comic series. I don't want to say it's brand new
I
because
mean, it is
it's
brand new because it's still going on.
yeah, but I mean what I'm saying is it's just like most comics. There's like a month in between each issue ish.
Yeah.
So I mean like it's you got to realize so 5 issues have been released. So it started 5 months ago, give or take, right?
Yep.
So it's called Batman Night Watch, and the synopsis, my sir.
So far from each issue covers basically a different villain that Batman has. So the Night Watch, Batman Night Watch is a just basically like a eyes everywhere, Big Brother night, like a social media for superheroes. Um, Batman in the first issue was was going after his villains, going after Clayface because, shocking, like every other time, they escaped from Arkham. And
Now, hold on. Before you continue, just so I know and everyone else, did they all escape at once, or did they all escape at separate times?
it was all it was from
It was a
how it
mass.
seemed, it was a mass breakout. All his
Okay,
villains broke out.
sorry. That's all I wanted because because each one is about him getting one of the villains,
Yep.
correct?
Each
And so
each each issue is, well, technically each issue is two
two.
villains.
Okay.
Um, because there's part one, part two, and then they go on after uh going after the main villain of that issue.
Okay.
Um, and so starts off with Clayface going around. Clayface is going around wreaking havoc, and Batgirl asks Batman if he has what it's called a chirper account, which is social media, and Batman says no. So she says, "Oh, I'm going to make you one that we could use this as a surveillance where the citizens of Gotham can report anything fishy going on, and they can keep track of it and respond as needed." So um, the citizens, they help the Bat family find Clayface, and um, Batman comes up, starts hunting down Clayface, and gets him down into an alley. Clayface, to try to get away, disguises himself as Robin, which, by the way, it is Damian Wayne Robin, not Tim Drake, and Batman knows that it's not Robin, so he captures him. And then at the end of part one, he says that they're going to use this chipper as a new, extend the Bat family to be everyone in Gotham, so that way, so that way they can all respond faster. His goal is to, if the community helps each other, then Gotham can be safer. And he dubs the chirper account Night Watch. So part one is Clayface, part two is Catwoman, and just overall, this series is a lot lighter toned. Lately, DC versus Marvel. Everyone always says that DC is the darker toned comic series. It's a lot grittier, not a lot less funny. Not that it doesn't have funny moments, but particularly with Batman, you don't really see him making jokes, not like in the Adam West days. But I feel like this comic kind of went back in that direction. It's a lot lighter tone. They making jokes like when Batman was chasing Clayface and he turned into Robin. Batman saw it was Robin, and he goes, "Robin, what are you doing out this late? You're just way past your curfew." And he's like, "Oh, golly gee, Batman, I'm sorry. I heard you were chasing Clayface and I wanted to come and help." And Batman threw an electric net on top of Clayface to capture him, and he's like, "Robin doesn't have a curfew and he's out of town. So nice try,
He
Clayface."
also doesn't say "gee willikers."
Yeah, he doesn't say that.
At
It's
least not.
like,
At least not Damien.
not Damien. um, but from which should kind of, I'll be honest, I kind of was surprised that it was Damian Wayne in the series, just because
How
usually
lighthearted it is.
lighthearted, and just the time frame, because Batgirl and Nightwing are working with Batman, and there's no mention of Tim Drake. So my first response was, okay, that's Tim Drake's Robin, and it wasn't. They revealed it in a later issue that it was. I had gotten a feeling it was Damian, because throughout the issues, he's always wanting to punch the villains and beat them up, and I'm like, all right, that's Damian, but doesn't make sense. But then they officially confirmed it as Damian, and I think it was issue 5. But issue 2, I don't know. You want me to keep going with talking about, or do you want to
No,
give
just
your own
just talk
thoughts?
about the villains in general.
What's that?
So, like, just talk about like which villains. So, obviously, in the first issue, it was Clayface and
Clayface,
Woman.
Catwoman was issue 1. Issue 2 was Penguin and Joker.
Now, Penguin though was acting superhero at one point, correct?
So the issue started off with Penguin uh, saving people, and you know, all the citizens are like, "Oh wow, this is he's turning over a new leaf," and the Bat family's like, "Yeah, no, that doesn't make sense. No, no, he doesn't. He didn't start in a new leaf." And Penguin's lawyer came to the Bat family and was telling him, "Oh, we made a deal with him that as long as he keeps, doing these heroic acts, we're going to drop all of his past crimes, and he's going to be a free citizen." Turns out he hired all of the criminals to stage these crimes, and he would come at the perfect right moment to save the day. And eventually, the Bat family found out, and so did the citizens, and Batman sent him back to Arkham. Um,
And then the Joker piece.
the Joker started with there were clowns popping up all over Gotham, and Batman, and they were doing was just goofing off, making people laugh and all that stuff, and Batman was very suspicious of it. He's like, that doesn't make sense. And everyone is like, the whole rest of the Bat family is like, except for Damian, was like, maybe they're just here, they're just trying to spread cheer in Gotham. And basically Batman was like, yeah, your happiness isn't allowed in Gotham. So that's definitely something up. So eventually Robin goes and stops a mime that's in the streets, and he's like, hey, who's threatening him? Like, hey, what are you doing here? What's going on? And the mime said that their boss told him that we have to cause a distraction. And when he said that, Batman was like, Joker's invading Blackgate. Joker's invading Blackgate. Turns out he wanted to save his crew that has been locked up in Blackgate. So he was using the clowns as a distraction. They go over there. Nightwing and Batgirl take out the goons. Batman takes out Joker, and that's the end of issue 2.
And then I mean, we don't have to go in super detail of everything, but who were so for 3, 4, and 5, the villains were
Issue 3 was Man-Bat. Part 1 was Man-Bat. Part 2 was Firefly.
okay.
Part
Those are two very different.
Yes. um, Issue 4, Part 1 was Killer Moth. Part 2 was Scarecrow.
Killer Moth. I always forget that he's a Batman villain.
He's a very minor Batman villain.
Well, because I always think of him as Teen Titans.
Yeah, that's true.
Again, I mean, it can go.
I mean, when it comes to Teen Titans and Batman, just because of the Bat family, so they're so interchangeable, because they just go around.
No, I know, but you understand what I'm saying. Like as a kid, I saw Killer Moth obviously
In Teen Titans,
Teen
yeah.
Titans more than any Batman show.
Yeah. No, I get it. That one had some decent comedy to it, because that one, Killer Moth wanted to. Batgirl was fighting Killer Moth, and she basically let herself get caught to figure out what his actual plan was. So Killer Moth just wanted to prove that he wasn't a D-list villain. He wanted to prove that he was up there with the big guys. So his idea of proving that he's a tough guy is going into an underground fight club to take on Killer Croc in a fight.
You lost. Right?
So it didn't really start. It kind of just, they got to the fight, they were in the ring, the announcer was going on, and they were like, are you sure you really want to do this? Like, this is Killer Croc. And he's like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to win. And Killer Croc was like, I'm done waiting, and kicks the announcer out of the way and just goes charging at him. And then the Bat family intervenes because,
Oh, okay. So they didn't get an actual chance to fight, but it was clear that Killer Croc was going to crush him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And there was actually a surprise guest appearance in that. The ring announcer, was actually Black Canary looking for Copperhead, who wasn't there. But it wasn't really a big thing. It was just minorly touched on.
And then after that was so obviously Scarecrow, but then
Scarecrow. So issue 5, part 1 was Harley Quinn, and then part 2 was just a wasn't really anything big. It was more talking about the Night Watch recruits, the citizens of Gotham. So that one was so throughout the issues, the Night Watch recruits were mainly little kids that were trying to do the right thing, trying to be heroes. So in part 2 of issue 5, they showed the kids talking about Batman, and they were trying to make a Batman comic. So they were they were trying to figure out who the villain was in that and to make for Batman, and they didn't want to do because one of the kids is so gung ho on Mister Freeze, like they wanted Mister Freeze. Um, I made a mistake. Part 2 of issue 1 was not Catwoman. They thought it was Batgirl thought it was Catwoman. It was Mister Freeze.
Okay.
So they were.
Ask that one.
I'll go back, but
Okay.
Catwoman. Jesus. So the recruits ended up deciding they were going to make a whole new villain for Batman because they didn't want to be cliche and do all the villains that were already there. So they made a new villain, and they were thinking, what's a villain that's good against Batman? What is the natural predator of bats? Owls. So they made a comic of the Court of Owls, which I thought was, it was pretty cool because it's one of those things where it's actually a thing. Then they were actually making it, they were drawing it. They're like, oh, what is a villain? What does the owls have? They have talons. They were making a talon. And it was just, I thought that was a little good
So
nod.
what's hilarious is they obviously don't know the Court of Owls because they're a secret group, but
Yep.
it's a play to the audience. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
going back to part
Yeah,
one,
you're gonna have to go back to that one because you
no,
can't leave it on.
no.
It was they thought it was Catwoman, but it turned out to be Mister Freeze.
So,
They look
so,
so much the same.
so Batgirl was fighting Catwoman because, so there was a list, there was a string of robberies, diamond robbers.
Okay,
And
that's my
who,
go-to person too. I agree.
who's a jewel thief? Catwoman. So Batgirl was fighting Catwoman. Catwoman gets the best of Batgirl. Batgirl goes back to the Batcave and tells Batman, and Batman's like, "No, I wasn't Catwoman." She's like, "What are you talking about? Who else is going to steal diamonds?" No, it wasn't Batgirl. And he gave him the spiel, and she's like, and the big reveal was that it was Mister Freeze. So Mister Freeze, as they reveal this, Nightwing actually finds Mister Freeze in Bloodhaven. So um, they go and save Nightwing from Mister Freeze because Mister Freeze freezes Nightwing, and Mister Freeze was stealing diamonds for trying to freeze the world. But
Because
yeah,
diamonds help with that.
they went over a little bit of science in the issue, but that's too big for my brain.
But also, you have to realize too, it's comic book science, which is different.
Yeah,
It's so weird. Yeah, so it sounds like a great series. We were talking about this earlier before we did the podcast, in the sense of like, it really it like makes me feel of like Batman, the Brave and the Bold,
yep,
where there's a decent story, but it's meant more for a younger audience.
hmm,
Like it's not that adults can't enjoy it, but like it's not violence. You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of violence. It's a lot of like cartoon violence
yeah,
or like jokes and stuff like that. Where the stuff that it's been going lately has been much more, well, it's been darker. I mean, we talked about that already,
yep.
and that's why I thought it was I thought it would be a good idea to talk about it because it's so different from the norm right now. Even though it might not be the greatest story of all time, it's definitely standing out.
It's just at the moment, it's just a bunch of short stories that people are enjoying.
Correct. All right.
It's very also like Harley Quinn, where Harley Quinn isn't. It's Harley Quinn is dark, but it's got that lighter tone. It's making people laugh. People aren't like, it's not the darker tone. It's more of it's a different direction that DC's been going with, and it's been working.
I mean, it's definitely adult comedy for that one more, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's still comedy. It's not like a drama. I mean, it's got some stuff in it, but for the most part, it's meant to be a comedy.
yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move on to talking about the DC movies and shows. So for the shows, the Arrowverse is still going on.
It's
Obviously,
ending.
but yes, but it's this year. This
I think the
um,
Flash is the last one.
I think you're correct on that.
Because I know they've announced that it's ending, but I think everything else has been canceled. Flash is the only one that's gotten a. Uh, actually,
No, I did it have one more season or is
no,
it canceled?
no. Flash has one more season. It has. They announced it has one more season. This
Okay.
is the last season. The thing is that because they have a bunch of because they got Superman and Lois. Is that one got canceled? I don't think it got canceled.
Well, that's why I didn't put this on the list because I was unclear on what's staying and what's going. So I didn't put it on the list at all. The only ones I put on here were ones that I thought I heard they were canceled, but they sound like they're not now. So we're gonna go into that in a little bit. So what do you think is the next DC movie?
The,
Take a guess.
it's the
Cause you keep
Flash.
no, it's not.
No,
Uh, it's Shazam 2.
is it?
Yes, it's coming out March 17th.
Ah, crap. Oh,
I
I can't.
know.
I
That's what I've
can't
been
wait.
saying. So anyway, because we kept talking about how because you kept saying, "Oh no, it's the Flash, it's the Flash, it's the Flash." I'm like, I've been seeing so much more Shazam stuff than anything about the Flash, because they've had so many trailers and so many commercials,
Well,
but I
yeah.
don't remember seeing the date. You know what I'm saying? Like you
No,
never really
yeah.
see. But yeah. So Shazam 2 is March 17th.
Okay.
Um, I'm actually looking forward to Fury of the Gods, which I'm actually very excited about.
Yep.
Then the next one is supposedly going to be The Flash, which is June of 2023.
They keep changing that one. So.
I know, but right now it's saying June, and who knows what's going to happen with that.
hmm
And it looks like he's playing two Flashes.
Well, it's a multiverse.
I know, but I mean, he's actually playing two different versions of himself, which I find
Oh,
interesting because I thought they were going to have different actors.
oh no, I hadn't heard anything about getting a different Flash actors. So I just assumed if they were going to do multiverse, it was going to be him.
Well, no, I saw like a
It was going to
freeze
be
frame.
them.
Yes, them. But yeah, I thought. Well, the thing that got me was I saw the two of them, and well, there were three actually. One was clearly not them because it was a female, or presented as female. Um, they were two of them. One with short hair, one with long hair, and I was like, so obviously maybe time travel, but overall, it didn't bother me at all. I just was like thrown off because I wasn't expecting that,
hmm
or like I don't know what I was expecting. I knew that there was got to be a multiverse, but I didn't put two and two together. I didn't think they had the acting chops to play more than one Flash. I mean, I still could be correct on that. Um,
I mean, I've been very vocal about it. I was never a fan of his Flash. So
yeah. And then the next one is supposed to be Blue Beetle, but is Blue Beetle canceled? That has not been confirmed, correct?
as to this day, Blue Beetle has
I
not
mean,
been canceled. That was
so
when Warner Brothers and Discovery merged. That was a big fear that people were gonna cancel Blue Beetle, but that's one of the ones that's so far has been staying.
well, I'm gonna guess that they're not gonna cancel it only because they gave a very specific date, August 18th.
Really? Oh, okay. I didn't
Which
realize
is
it had a
obviously
date yet.
well, other than the out of all of them right now, the Flash is the only one for 2023 that didn't have an actual date.
Yeah, because they keep
Uh,
changing
Correct,
it.
but I mean, it just said June at this point.
Yeah.
So Blue Beetle is next, which is supposed to be October 18th. I mean, I know Blue Beetle from like the games and from like some of the shows and stuff, but I really don't know his full backstory, obviously. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. And the star of it is going to be the one from who's the lead character in Cobra Kai.
Oh, cool.
So he was confirmed as playing. Is it Miguel? Is that the character's name? Miguel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The newest Blue Beetle is Miguel
Yes.
because he's the third person or third creature to have it in the comics, if I remember correctly. I think it's
Yeah.
Miguel. I
No.
can't remember. But anyway, so he's going to be in it. He's going to star in it. And then at the end of this year, it's Aquaman. It's actually supposed to be at Christmas.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's going to be Christmas Day. Just say Christmas time.
Well, Dean, when you say Christmas time, it's going to be any time in December. So.
Correct, but I mean, it was just interesting to see. So that was another one I'm looking forward to. Um, but it's got so much publicity before. The problem was there was so much publicity on this movie before they even started slash finished filming, all because of Amber Heard. But
The two
I thought it was coming out earlier because of all the publicity. But I didn't realize it's not coming out to the end of this year, maybe.
so with those two movies, Flash and Aquaman, I guess there was conflicting things going on. So at one point, Aquaman was supposed to be coming out first. Then they filmed Flash, and I guess there was a scene in the Flash that hinted at that had a something go that hinted at what was to come in Aquaman 2. So then they changed it around and put Flash first because whatever happened in the Flash is going to lead to Aquaman 2.
Okay.
Um, but then like the dates jumped around so many different times, but that was the main reason why they ended up pushing the Flash first because something happens that leads to Aquaman 2.
Yeah.
But both of the two biggest name movies that DC has right now, which is The Flash and Aquaman, have been gotten publicity for all the wrong reasons because of actors in the movies.
No, and I agree with you 100%, but because of that, it's been like you think the movie's coming out sooner than it actually is, when in actuality they didn't even finish filming. And
Yeah,
it's like, and so in our eyes, it's like, I think, and I hope this is a fear they actually do have, because it's a big chance it could, that people are going to forget about the movie because it's like, well, we heard about it already. You know
yep.
what I'm saying? It is a possibility. The
Just
other
like the
one that's
actress
on,
in Avatar too.
yeah, that's right. Um, the other one I put on this list. Oh, actually, no. I'm sorry. There's one other movie. This one's actually scheduled to be in 2024. I put it on the list because this was one that was talked about also, but not to be canceled, but because of who they have supposedly starring in it. It's Joker
Oh,
2.
Joker 2. Yep. Have you
So
even seen the first one yet?
yes,
Oh, you did.
yes. So for those of you who don't know, which is everybody, I've been very late on watching DC specifically stuff. Now, that does not mean it has not happened in Star Wars, in other areas, but Marvel is the only one I think I have been the most up to date
You are very up to date with Marvel. Yes.
on. DC, it's mostly the TV shows. Now,
Oh yeah.
now, now,
I had to
it was
twist your leg
movies.
to get you to watch Suicide Squad and Peacemaker.
Yes, but I have watched them now, and they are great shows and movies. So anyway, the other thing that's on this list, so it's Joker, and that's supposed to be coming out October of 2024. I found that interesting that they gave such a specific like month and year, being so far out.
Well, I mean, that's just their goal. Telling people like, hey, this is our time frame. Obviously, as
Yeah,
time goes, it can change.
yeah, but normally when they do something like that, it's like fall of 2024. You know what I'm saying? Like,
True.
I thought it was odd that they gave a very specific month, and I'm wondering if it has to do with Halloween.
That's what I'm going with. Joker, Halloween. So
Correct. I'm wondering if that's like their goal. They want it out so like they're gonna like have a Halloween, kind of get in that sense.
yeah,
And then the other one on this list, and I put it as a question mark because there was no confirmation on this, but Peacemaker season 2.
we're hoping there's a season 2.
Yeah, there was a question mark because it was unclear if there was one going to be a season 2, and if there is, the goal would be that it would be coming out at the end of this year.
This year
But
or next year?
no, this year, 2023.
Oh, okay.
But that is not set in stone. That is not, none of, most of these dates can change. I think the only one that's set in stone 100%, I would imagine, is Shazam 2.
Yep.
I think that's the only one that's like concrete, it's staying. And that's everything on DC right now. Anything else you want to add?
No, I mean it's just. I mean with DC right now, everything's up in the air because of the merger and the new takeover. So
Correct.
anything that's going on, I mean, I'm surprised that Joker 2 is still coming out. I'm surprised they're making a Joker 2, to be honest. But I mean, the way the first one ended, I don't think it needed a second one. But like
Yeah,
after
but
this year, everything is basically, from my understanding, everything is getting a clean slate. So
and like movies I didn't mention that were talked about was like the potential of a Batman 2, potential of a Wonder Woman 3.
Well, Wonder Woman 3 is canceled.
Oh, it's 100% canceled now?
That's 100% canceled.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that.
They can't change their mind.
Well, no, that doesn't mean that. But Wonder Woman 3 is canceled. So,
But
from
they
my
can have another Wonder
understanding,
Woman movie.
huh? What?
They can have another Wonder Woman movie just in the new universe.
Yeah, it's gonna. There's no. So from my understanding is that when the producers read the script for Wonder Woman 3, they were just flat out rejected it. They said it was awful. Um, so far, everyone is yelling at James Gunn about on Twitter about like, oh, what are you doing this, and why are you getting rid of Gal Gadot, and she's a great Wonder Woman, and Gunn came out and said that I never said that Gal Gadot is getting replaced. So there's a hint that she's still going to play the part, but it's not confirmed. They're not he's going to be making an announcement for the future of DC supposedly in a couple of weeks, but until that happens, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and I think that's the big uproar and everything in general, especially with like the talks of Jason Momoa playing Lobo.
I
Like,
would be so down for that.
here's the thing: I'm not against it. My idea is it's going to be a public issue in the sense of you see him as Aquaman and now he's somebody else. I know it's so
Yeah.
like think of it like this. It's very similar to like when we're opening up the multiverse in Marvel. People are gonna get so like, why are there so many? You know what I'm saying?
No, I understand that.
And I think it's different when it's in the comics than when it's live action, in the sense of people who are watching it are those who are reading the comics are more understanding of the universe, the lore, and everything else.
Yeah.
Where you have a broader audience when it's now in streaming networks, movies in generals, and stuff like that. So because of that, you have a wider audience that do not understand it, which can be part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that it ruins it, because I have no problem with him being Lobo because he looks perfect for it, 100%. And I guarantee, I'm not concerned that he can't do a good job with
Oh,
it.
he's got the charisma for it so well.
Oh yeah, I mean he just oozes it, and
Yeah.
I'm not. I was more disappointed that they casted him as Aquaman, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he did a great job playing Aquaman.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying is, out of all the characters for him to play, he did make Aquaman cool, but like it to me, it's Aquaman, and I do hate saying that, but he's not one of my favorite characters.
He's not really anybody's favorite character.
Correct,
But
and that's the point I'm making.
they've definitely improved on Aquaman since the early days. But
yeah, but it hasn't. It's still not great.
yeah,
But I agree with you. But yeah, so that's DC in a nutshell for right now. So hopefully we'll have new news the next time we do the podcast. Well,
I'm gonna add to it that because someone hasn't watched the Arrowverse yet.
Shockingly, shockingly, I'm still on Smallville. Cut me some slack.
You've been on Smallville for like 2 years. So.
First off, I'm not gonna even justify that because it's been longer than that. But yes, correct.
In Arrowverse, they hinted at characters playing multiple heroes. So we've already gotten a taste of it. And how they did it, when they did it, I mean, at this point, it's your fault, spoilers.
Spoilers don't bother me. Continue.
They did the cross universe episode. It was
The Infinity
five.
Crisis. Correct?
The Infinity Crisis. It was 5 episodes, and in Arrow, one of the actors who plays Adam, who plays the Atom, also was the actor who played Superman in the 2000 Superman Returns movie. I think it was 2000.
Okay.
So they actually brought him in as a guest appearance as Superman in the 5-episode crossover, and he played both parts. So they've already hinted at actors playing different roles, which I think they did a great job. they also showed the two Flashes in it. They brought in they brought in Ezra Miller's Flash into the crossover event,
Yeah,
which
I did know that.
um, so they've already had experience with exposing people. Obviously, the TV shows, those weren't, they were popular at first, but as time went on, people started losing a lot of interest in them. But I think that was the last big hurrah that they had for the TV shows. And from what I saw, I mean, I enjoyed it, but from what I saw online as well, that the community loved it as well. They
Okay.
did a good job with it. So
No, and I'm not against it. I'm just stating that
no, I
the
understand where you're coming from, where people will
I mean,
get confused with them playing different parts.
correct. I mean, that was a big issue some people had with Doctor Strange, Madness of the Multiverse, where it's like, why are there so many Stranges? You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's a
what?
big thing that everyone's complaining about with Marvel is that there's this is a multiverse. Why are they having the same characters play different things? And well, I mean, this is the multiverse. There's billions of other options. You're
Correct.
just looking at the universe that has the same actor.
Correct. And moving into that, so moving on to the Marvel thing, I mean, one of the big things too, I mean, I know this wasn't part of our topic, but we'll move into it. Like somebody got in, so like I was talking to somebody about the multiverse in general. It's like, it's just so confusing. Like it's so hard to figure out which one's which. You know, in Loki, it was so much easier. And I'm like, Loki was a separate entity. Those were the rejected ones. So they're not, and I hate saying it, but like realistically, they were. They were literally trimmed. So they were less likely to show the ones that looked more like Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah,
Obviously, there was one, but the majority of them were not him.
and he got his hand eaten by an alligator.
Yes, yes. In fact, it was the greatest Loki of all. It was such. I think my favorite part was Morbius going, I just don't understand how he can be an alligator. But like he's lying about it. Like that's the Loki thing to do. So like, sir,
Yep.
I just think that was so perfect. But overall, I think Marvel is doing a great job. I think it's definitely doing better in the movies for sure. Their TV shows are not awful, but I think right now they're in this weird flux of the multiverse, and they're not connecting them yet. They're kind of just one-offs right now.
Well, the thing about the TV shows is it's going to be the same thing with the movies, where everyone's complaining that these movies aren't good. They're reintroducing everything.
Well, they're also
So
introducing brand new characters.
they're introducing brand new characters, and then the TV shows just in general. I mean, they branch out. They're going to be, not everyone's cup of tea. So,
Correct.
like She-Hulk is the most comic accurate book of a comic book TV show yet, but yet, it's not for everybody. It's not that, and not everyone's kind of humor. It's not everyone's kind of show. I'm not
Correct.
like for me, that wasn't my kind of show. I'm not saying it. I'm not going to go out and say it was an awful show and that the Marvel should stop making Marvel movies and TV shows. But I mean, it just wasn't my kind of show.
No, and I agree with you. I mean, not every single thing they're going to put out is going to be great.
Yeah,
I'm not going to. I mean, nobody should be thinking that to begin with. There's going to be some that are going to be. I don't want to use the word flop, but like just
Marvel
not
doesn't
as
flop
good as.
anymore.
No, but you know what I'm saying. Like it's just not as good. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's just not going to be like because we have this high level now
Yep.
of like what we're expecting. We're expecting it to be at that level all the time. And I don't mean us specifically, but the audience.
Yep.
And it's never. It's not. It can't always be that level.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
that's literally what happened with Love and Thunder.
yes.
Everyone's expectations were so high because of Ragnarok that it didn't meet their expectations. That now all of a sudden they're saying that it's worse than Dark World.
Which I am 100% against.
Yeah. No.
Uh,
No.
I think it's. I personally think it goes Ragnarok, Love and Thunder,
Yep.
the original, and then Dark World.
I
That's me.
agree. I agree.
Because it's just it. I understand where it went and like what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I just think that for me personally, what would have made it better, for my own purpose, because like the comedy piece wasn't my issue because it's Thor's perspective.
Yep.
So he's trying to bring that positivity to it. You know, even though there's a bunch of dark stuff happening, he's trying to make it positive. But I think what I wanted to see was more of Gore, the God Butcherer. You know what I mean? I wanted to see him really be a butcherer,
Yep.
like torturing these gods. That was the one issue I had with it that was like major. Everything else I didn't like. Nothing bothered me. Like there were
Yeah.
some things I thought might have not been as good or like as great as it could have been, but like I didn't hate it. The only thing I just wasn't really happy with was the fact that we didn't get to see enough of him.
Yeah.
So, segue.
Agreed.
Um, so X-Men, Marvel had a poll on who we, as the audience, wanted to have as a new member of the X-Men. And the winner was Firestar. Now, Mike, do you know Firestar's ability?
Does it have anything to do with fire?
You know what's funny? I thought the same thing, and apparently we're both stupid because
Let me guess.
her powers aren't exactly what we thought they were. So take a guess on what they are. Don't look it up. Don't cheat.
I wasn't. My screen was going dark. I was moving it. um, See, when I think of Firestar, it just goes back to DC. I just think of Starfire. That's literally what is in my head.
Okay, so we agree that she can start fires, but she can't really control them. So how do you make fire? Or how do you think you could start a fire?
Is it going to be like Pyro from the X-Men movies? No?
No, she's able to manipulate microwaves, apparently.
Microwaves? What?
So, remember when she came out originally? She came out in like the 80s with the Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
Uh-huh.
So like, that's the era we're talking about. So she could create fire, but it was because she like nuked it.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
So it was something because I honestly thought she could just create fire. I thought that
Yeah.
was her ability. I didn't think it was like as simple as like she just thought it and it happened. I assumed there had to be something else to it, but I didn't because the way they always presented it was fire from her hands and shooting
Mhm.
out. But that was also back in the day. So what I asked Mike to do, and I did it myself too, was come up with who we thought should have joined the X-Men or who we thought would like to be join it. So I'm going to start off with my 5 that I narrowed it down to before I give you my actual one. I know I already
Crap.
told you,
I
but
forgot we were supposed to say AR5, so it's on my phone.
that's right. I got it for you. So the big one for me was so I have Beast, Nightcrawler, Maggot, Anole, and Marrow. Those were mine.
Half
And
of them are
then
me.
2 of them were yours.
I thought,
So you had Anole, Darwin, Frenzy, Maggot, Velocidad, and Dust. I don't know if I said the second to last one right.
I'm going off of the same thing, Velocidad. That's what I'm assuming.
Um, so
Right.
all right,
I was thinking Marrow at first because I had like a list of 10 at first, and then I narrowed it down. Marrow was one of them at first,
yeah.
and then I
Well,
scrapped it.
so you don't have to go into detail with all of them
Mhm.
because we're only going to talk about the ones we actually picked. But like, why did you narrow it down to those 5? What of those 5 made you think that they should be a part of the X-Men?
I just thought they were more unique. Whether it was so, whenever I think of X-Men in particular, I always, it's always about inclusion. Talking about how it's with the real world, with how they include people who are always shunned, how they come together, and all that stuff. So when I was going through some of the characters, I was looking at unique characters for some of them, but like for Dust, she's a Middle Eastern girl. So I was like, okay, being the fact that she's an outsider, I feel that would be a good inclusion. Just off of that would be an inclusion into the X-Men. Anole, he's a homosexual. He would fit into just off of that outside fact. Um, Otherwise, I was looking at how it just for the X-Men, people with troubled pasts as well, which most mutants have a troubled past. So like Frenzy had a criminal background. As a way to redeem herself, she could join the X-Men and start doing good. Um, Velocidad, I'm going to be honest, I don't remember too much about what his background was at this point.
I
Um,
couldn't remember his background, but I do remember his powers because of how ridiculous it was.
I don't even remember that. So
So the idea, so the thought was he thought, and so did everyone else, thought he was a speedster. So they thought he was super fast. What it turned out was he had time manipulation.
right,
So he didn't actually have super speed. He was able to manipulate time around him, so it gave the illusion that he was fast.
But the thing is, the more he used his time, the more it aged him.
Correct.
So he had to use it sparingly.
Correct. So it's funny. So it's funny that you brought up your reason for it, like for why you picked those five. I picked my five for a similar reason. I wanted one that didn't look like a human. Like the
Yeah.
ones I picked, like even though Maggot could technically pass for it, he's got those two maggots that have to be near him. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? So like he clearly is going to stand out. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I picked all the ones I picked were because they're not they can't pass for human
Hmm.
out there. You know, they might get away with it for a little bit. Like Maggot could kind of cover himself, but like and like Beast has gone out in like a trench coat and a hat, but they can't be out in the public easily
Hmm.
because they can be spotted rather easily, and that's why I picked those five. So like for me, Nightcrawler, we already know teleporter. He's blue. He looks like a demon. Even though he's a Christian, he is a demon. Demon looking, I should say. And because of that, you know, that's a whole thing.
Well,
Beast,
in society, he is a demon.
no, correct. Beast, I mean, the name says it himself. If you don't know who he is, he's literally a blue fur beast. Super intelligent, though, very articulate, and super kind.
Yep.
But it's because of his appearance that people are afraid of him.
Hmm.
Anole, the reason why I didn't go with the homosexual end with it is because X-Men has one, has their homosexual member. It's Iceman now. So I didn't
Oh,
focus
is
too
he?
much on that
Okay.
one. Yeah, he is now. So I didn't go on that route only because they already have the representation there. But I went with it because I thought about him because of, you know, he has the green skin. He has like the reptile type skin. So that's why I went with him. Maggot I already talked about, and then Marrow. Her bones are literally sticking out of her body. I
Yep.
mean, she can't hide that. It's part of her mutation. She can break them off and they can regrow, but they're not going to be permanently gone. They're going to be
Yep.
shooting her body. And so like I narrowed it down to so my pick was Marrow. So the reason why I didn't go with a Knoll is because he was too much like Toad. Um, so I didn't want to go with him. Beast has already been a part of the X Men before, so I thought it'd be weird to have him back again. He wasn't as unique as the rest of them. That's why I also didn't pick Nightcrawler. Maggot, the reason why I didn't choose Maggot is because I just felt like his power wouldn't have helped the X Men.
Yep.
Even though it's very unique and it is kind of cool, I just couldn't see the usefulness of it in my eyes on the grand scale of things comparatively to the rest of the team right now. So I went with Marrow because she would be more of like the Wolverine of the group. Obviously, she has that healing factor to a certain degree. She has two hearts, and the only way she's going to die if both die or stop beating. But also the fact that she's a woman too, and women are always in society specifically. The fact that they have to be, you know, beautiful. You know, they have to present in a certain way, and I don't want to say she's not beautiful, but she's not the standard. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
with a lot of these mutants, like even Mystique, even though she has blue skin, she's very sexualized.
Yep.
Where Marrow is one of the few that really isn't as sexualized as all the others because of her ability. And I think that'd be a great addition to it because not only does it add the grotesque piece of being a mutant and like unable to blend into society because she was part of the Murlocs, which were the group of mutants that used to live in the sewers. I don't know if this particular Marrow lived in the sewers because you know it's a different universe, but I think she's lived in the sewers in past issues and storylines and stuff like that. She even led the Murlocs at one point too
Yep.
against the surface dwellers, as she called them, because they looked too much like they could be allowed on the surface. So I thought she'd be like a nice addition to it because she still has like the human aspect of her, but she's got like literally the bones sticking out of her, and definitely would be a red flag to people. And also, her ability is I don't want to say the only one, but like, how do I put this? Like her ability is more for elimination.
Hmm.
She's creating weapons with her bones.
Yep.
Bones
Weapons
are
and armor.
and bludgeon you. I mean, there's no way around it. Like,
Yep.
like I'm not saying that Iceman can't kill people. I'm just saying that he can use his ability without killing people.
Mm.
You know, Marrow, it's very difficult for her to use her ability without causing severe damage to somebody.
Yep.
Because Iceman has the ability to, melt his ice or remove his ice, so he doesn't necessarily have to hurt the person significantly. Same thing with all the others too. I also like the fact that they brought back um, Firestar, because Firestar and Iceman used to work as a team together with Spider-Man.
Yep.
But anyway, back to Marrow. I chose her obviously because of the beauty standards that we have for women. It should be different than that, and also for the sheer fact that she'd be like the Wolverine of the group, because they
Hmm.
don't have one right now. So she'd be like that fighter type right now. For the ones that they have right now, there isn't really like a scrappy one.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure like all of them are more like ability
Yeah,
based.
I had the list, but I don't remember who's on the team right now.
There's only one I'm not 100% sure on. So it was Cyclops, Jean Grey,
Yeah.
um, it was Firestar, Iceman, and there was this other guy who I can't pinpoint, but I think he's more like like mental manipulation. Not quite psychic, but I think it's some sort of like mirage thing.
Yeah,
I didn't really
I think I remember
mirage.
that.
So there's not like really a fighter. So
Hmm.
I thought she'd be a great addition to it, and that's the reason why I went with her instead of all the others I had. For that reason.
Hmm.
So what about you?
So my final pick, I decided to go with. I think I felt that Darwin would have been a good addition to the team. Um, his ability basically makes him, as everyone always describes it, is that he can become invincible. He's invulnerable. He has the ability to change his skin to match the environment around him. Um, I know in past he's been in the X-Men. Um, I know particularly he was in one of the movies and they did him dirty. So in retrospect, I would I he hasn't had a lot of, from my understanding, he hasn't had a lot of screen time, or you know, in general,
Publicity time. Yeah.
publicity. Thank you. So I feel like because he's supposed to be one of the most powerful characters, and he hasn't, uh like, particularly with the movie, that was his first major spotlight, and they just completely destroyed him. So they just fed him to Kevin Bacon, and which was a big disappointment. Um, he had the potential to be such a major player, and it just, uh, you know, cut him short. And I think from what I've been able to see is after the movie, he kind of got pushed into the back burner.
Hmm.
So because of his ability just to be able to transform his skin to match the environment, to be able to, just that kind of power, I think that would be obviously be a great help to the X-Men. Kind of not to the extent that you have, where you have that, Marrow being the fighter, but just that being having
Defense.
someone so powerful, that I think that would be a great addition to the team. Um,
So what I was gonna say is, and correct me if I'm wrong, because Darwin is not somebody I'm like well versed in. I'm not gonna pretend. Isn't he? Um, isn't he supposed to adapt so his body is less likely to die in an environment?
yeah. So, um,
Like
yeah,
hypothetically,
his
like we saw in the movie, like he stuck his head underwater, he grew gills.
yeah. So because yes, so he adapts. So like, his body will change to match the environment that he's in. So if he's in fire, his body will morph so that way he won't die from the fire.
He's not gonna burn to death. Yeah,
Yeah. Um,
but that doesn't mean he can't die though.
yeah. I mean, he's supposed to, because of his power, he's almost all okay. I can't say that. Just like every other
Correct.
everyone else has the potential to die, but it's just how level of it. Like Wolverine can die, it's just nearly impossible to kill him.
It
Just
takes a
like
lot.
Deadpool can die, but it's nearly impossible. Um,
Well, so that depending on the story on him.
well, I mean, again, it's the same with everybody.
No, I know, but there have been specific times where he's been unable. Like Thanos took his ability to die away, so he couldn't
Oh,
slither his
okay.
way. Like I understand what you're saying, but like that one was a very like that particular one was like a very specific piece. Like he already was difficult to kill to begin with,
Y-
but
y-
like that added to the fact that he literally couldn't die.
Okay, you're using a fact where literally a supervillain made it so he couldn't die to get revenge because he's being petty that he couldn't.
For his
Uh,
girl. I agree.
yeah,
No, and here's the thing. I agree with you, but what I'm getting at is using Deadpool as an example
I know it's
isn't.
tough. It's a tough one.
Wolverine, I agree with you 100% in the sense of like he definitely can die. It's just a heck of a lot. It's same thing with the Hulk. The Hulk can die.
Mhm.
It's a lot harder to kill him, but it is possible.
Yeah. Um,
Darwin, again, and maybe it's because he hasn't had the limelight like we talked about, but like we've never seen like his limit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, did
Well,
he actually die, or did he evolve in a different way?
yeah, that's true.
We
Yeah,
don't
that's
know.
true.
You know what I'm saying?
I
We
mean,
assume he's
yeah, no, I mean, with the way that the movie showed it, it didn't show him in a great light. From what the audience could see, like you said, he could have survived and just went in a way so that way he could. But um, yeah, with the potential of power, that's how I that was my reasoning. Just because of his potential of how powerful he is, and I would want to see a redemption story for him, just because of um, how poor he had been
treated.
shown in the movie.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I mean, for all we know, I mean, they can change his story enough and change his powers enough to make him a powerhouse. I'm just stating by the information that we know. There's really, it's tough. It's tough because it's not like he's a well-known character and he's not had a lot of time to be like showing off his power.
Yeah,
Like we see like the dumb stuff where it's like he's in a volcanic area, so his body is like turning into like volcanic rock, so he's less likely to burn. He goes in the water for too long, he grows gills. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
we don't get to see like more than that. Where I think he has the ability to potentially do more.
yeah. No, definitely. I mean, he has high intelligence. He doesn't. His abilities also. I mean, it's not just for survival. Um, I think I read somewhere that if he goes, so say his vision, if he goes into pitch black, his eyes will adjust to give him night vision. So it's not just simply for survival. I mean, that's for survival, but you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
but it's not life or death.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if he does it subconsciously or if it's just his body automatically does it. Like I'm wondering if it's him in control of it.
Mm,
You
that
know
I
what I'm
do
saying?
not that I did not see. So yeah,
No, I know, and I don't think I always understood it as it was like a heat of the moment type of thing. Like you fell into the water and you're tied to a weight. We're gonna give you gills. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
Like that's how I took it. I mean, obviously, I'm using an extreme case here, but I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
like, I imagine that, like, oh, something really hard's gonna come towards you. All right, touch the rock so we can turn more like a rock. You know what I'm
Brace
saying?
brace myself.
Correct. I don't think that's ever been clear either. But
Hmm
I would imagine with his high intelligence that there is the possibility that he could control it. I mean, just like most people. I mean, he might have the ability to. At first, it's all subconscious,
hmm
and then later he learns to control it, where he can actually, now understanding the genetics of everything because he's so intelligent, he could then manipulate his body in his own thought process to do what it needs to do.
Yeah.
Which I think would be cool. It would also make him versatile. It wouldn't necessarily make him a powerhouse necessarily, based on what I know. And again, that doesn't mean he can't do other things. I'm just stating that, like, oh, cause sorry.
No, 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 no. Just to go off of the powerhouse, he's because of his power and his ability to adapt, he was actually go able to go and take a beating from the Hulk.
Oh, oh, okay. So yeah, okay. No, I got you. I understood.
So
There's
you know,
not many. There's not many non-gods that can say that.
yeah. So he can, like I said, he can adapt to any situation. So it's just whether to the extent that we could that the writers and whatever movie people want to take with it.
Also,
Another fact that I also forgot to say that another reason for including him is that again with the exclusion part is that in most of the scenarios he's Hispanic African or African Hispanic. So he's got that mixed blood as well that, in society frowned upon perfect thing to be taken in from with the X-Men.
Well, just to show too that anybody can be a mutant. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't really, you know what I
and
mean?
to
It
have
doesn't
an
have
impact.
correct. It's a mutation in the human race, not a specific subset that we consider based on skin color. Um, but no, 100% agreed in the sense of inclusion is a big thing in general, um, which is why, like I said, I went more with the grotesque because I feel like with mutants, and this is just me, that does not mean that this isn't a factor, but like with mutants, it's less about race in the sense of like skin color. It's more about your genes, quite literally.
Yep.
Um, and again, I'm not saying that in Marvel that racism doesn't exist. Of course it does. But I imagine, especially with the mutant piece of it, that piece hasn't been the issue or hasn't been a big piece of the issue. It's been mostly due to the fact that they have a superpower.
Yep.
They have the X gene, which makes them a freak.
Hmm.
Agreed, and that's why I went more with like the grotesque, where clearly they're a mutant, like they can't hide it.
Yeah.
Um, but awesome. All right, so we're gonna on that note, um, we're gonna move on to what's upcoming in Marvel in general. So the first one on this list, I'm laughing because we talked about this a little bit. That I kept thinking Ant-Man 3 was first, and it is for the MCU. But there is another Marvel show coming out February 10th on Disney Plus, like most things. It is a child, or I'm sorry, a kid-friendly series where it's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Um, so it's quite literally a little girl who I think has the ability to float. Um, and she has a friend who is called the Devil Dinosaur. It's a massive red T Rex. I don't know much about him. I don't know if he's from. Um, oh my gosh, what's the place where Kazar's from? It's the tropical area in Antarctica. I know that's a weird thing to say, but like it's an actual thing. Not Stranger Lands. Um, I can't think of it. Anyway, not the point. Um, it's gonna bother me now. But anyway,
You'll
it's
think
like
of it.
there's alien technology that's used that fell on in Antarctica, and what happens was it turned the landscape into a tropical paradise, which is where actual dinosaurs still exist, and everything else. So in that piece of the world, there were dinosaurs and stuff like that, and there was a hero called Kazar who is a mutant who has he's super strong and everything else, and he's more like cavemanish, like Tarzan, and he's helped out with the X-Men a bunch of times. But anyway, I think Devil Dinosaur is from that area, and it's a good guy creature. Um, I'm not sure like if it's able to communicate or if it's more like a pet, like kind of like Scooby Doo. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Like you know what I'm saying? It's giving me that vibe, but I'm not 100% sure. It's not a it's not characters I like really knew. But also, I didn't even know the show was going to exist because I was so focused on MCU that it wasn't even on my radar. So we're definitely going to be talking about it because I'm going to make the two of us watch it. Um, because I'm just curious of what it is. I mean, it might be just like everything else, one episode at a time. So the next time we do this podcast, we might only have, or not the next one, the one after, we might only have one episode in, but we'll see. After that is Ant-Man 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yep.
This is where we get to see Kang be really Kang, which I'm super excited about. We also were introduced to another minor villain, MODOK. Although, hear me out on this. I'm not stating that it isn't MODOK. I'm saying that it's not been. We're not 100% sure that that particular image was MODOK, even though it does look like him. You understand what I'm saying?
So you're thinking that they're gonna pull a bait and switch, kind of like what they did with the Mandarin?
Not necessarily. I'm thinking because we're in
Not
the
to that
multiverse.
extent, but
No, I'm thinking because of the multiverse
oh,
that's not the MODOK that we're going to see. That's a version of the MODOK.
oh, just a variant.
Correct. Like I feel like yes, like it's going to be like a MODOK, but it's not going to be the MODOK for the MCU. If you understand what I mean.
I understand.
Yeah, like Defender Strange was not Strange of the MCU.
Yep,
He was just a Strange. You
yep.
know what I'm saying? Like that similar thought process on that.
Just like
So
Captain
that was
Carter and whoever else in that movie. Yep, I
yeah,
understand
yeah,
what you mean.
Captain Marvel. Yeah, yeah. Exactly. So that's really what I was getting at. I mean, it's been confirmed that the guy who played Yellow Jacket is going to be him, that particular character. Um, or that looking character. And the reason why I say that is because they were not on the same screen.
Hmm.
And again, the reason why I'm doing that or saying it that way is because of all like the millions and millions of Ant-Man we saw in the trailer, that I can't imagine that they're not going to have multiple versions of some other character.
Hmm.
Not as many as Ant-Man, obviously, but like there's no way that we're at the point in the universe where time doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I can't imagine that we're not going to see different versions of characters.
yeah.
Um, but definitely look forward to that. I'm also just looking forward in general of just where they're going to go with it. Like, are they going to kill Scott Lang? You know what I'm saying? Like, um, I'm just super curious about it in general because it's looking like Scott Lang's going to die. And again, they always make it look like the hero's going to die.
Yep.
But because of all the movies that we know Kang's in, I can't, I can't, I can't see Kang losing. You know what I'm saying?
He's not gonna lose.
No, but you understand what I'm saying. I can't see like.
No,
I don't
agreed.
think he's. I don't think he's gonna. Obviously, I don't think he's gonna lose.
Yeah.
But my point I'm making is, I can't. I can't see a way, right now, where Kang wins and Ant-Man doesn't die. Right now, and granted, it's we haven't seen the movie, but I
Yeah.
mean, as of right now, that's what I'm going off of. Especially because they've already have a replacement for him, his daughter.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So Stature's already ready to go for the new Avengers. So, which that is the possibility of it. So it's not completely unrealistic that it could happen.
I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna live. I don't know how, obviously, because I just think that with the way it's going, I don't think. I mean, it looks like he's going to die. I definitely think it looks like it. I
Yeah.
just don't think they're gonna pull the trigger on it. I think if anyone's gonna die, it's gonna be Hank. Um,
Well, I was also thinking too, like because we don't see the faces of all the Ant-Man, I'm
it
wondering
could
if
be
that's
also
another one.
variants as well.
Correct. Where he kills another one, or he's showing Scott what happens if he doesn't do it. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's a weird thing, but like like it could be like because they can't show fake footage anymore, but they can use
Stupid.
agreed, but they can use footage that's going to be in the movie, but out of context.
See, I think that thing is going to be a little bit. I think that law is going to be a play-by-play depending on the situation,
one Hundred
where
percent.
like the lawsuit stemmed because people were suing because they were claiming that they went to go see the movie because a certain actress was in it, and then she ended up not being in the movie at all. Whereas a situation where it's like, Infinity War, where they had the trailer where it was going to be the Hulk fighting Thanos' army, but in actuality it was the Hulk Buster.
Correct.
So I think, something minor like that, I really don't think they're going to get anywhere with it, but we'll have to see how time goes.
No, and I agree with you. It's just one of those things where it's going to be tough, but there's ways around it. They're going to there's going to be ways around it to keep secrets without a problem.
Yeah.
That we can agree on. So that covers February. um, uh, and then the next one that's supposedly coming out, this one's only giving me a season, meaning like a season of time it will come out, is Secret Invasion, which is coming supposedly spring. So the thought is right now is so it's going to be so the Secret Invasion, for those of you who don't know, is when the Skrulls come in and start taking over for the heroes one by one. So there's stipulation on what happened necessarily. So anyway, so nobody's quite sure who's a Skrull and who's not, type of thing. And so the idea is they were attacked by somebody or they were afraid of somebody and they go run. So we've already seen that from the Kree, but I imagine the Kree aren't as powerful anymore, so something else has to be out there. But we do know Kang's out there, so it's not an impossibility that they're afraid of him. Or other things. I mean, there's other things in the universe that we're not aware of, too, that they could be bringing apart into as well. We only know for a fact that, oh my gosh, Nick Fury is going to be the lead in this.
Oh my gosh.
I know, 'cause I couldn't think of it. I had a brain thought. Nick Fury is actually going to be the star of this series,
Yep.
which definitely looking forward to, because we haven't seen him as the main person.
No, he's just been an encouraging figure.
He's been the encouraging figure, so this is going to be the first one we see him. I don't want to say in action necessarily, but like he's going to be the main pusher of the action, which I'm looking forward to because I'm a big Samuel L. Jackson fan.
Yep.
So then after that, it's going to be Guardians of the Galaxy 3 on May 5th. I mean, the only thing we know about this one is the fact that
this is the last one.
Well, yes, but also the fact that they're looking for Gamora.
Looking for Gamora, and we're supposed to be getting a Rocket origin story.
Yes, correct. And then after that, this is not an MCU one, but it's a Netflix one. It is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and that's coming out June 2nd.
Cannot wait.
I'm actually very much looking forward to it, 100%. They're adding a lot more Spider-Man, and that we only know the ones that they've announced.
Which has been a lot.
And I imagine there's going to be more. I don't think to the degree of time that they're going to spend with the ones they've announced.
Yeah.
But there's definitely going to be a lot of cameos, I'm guessing, from a lot of versions that we might know or might not know.
Yep.
But definitely looking forward to that. And then after that is What If Season 2 is supposed to be in the summer. That's also going to be another 9 episodes. So they're not going to be doing the 10 like they originally stated. It's down to 9.
Really?
Yeah. So originally it was supposed to be 10 and 10, but they cut 1 episode from the first season, and then I don't know if like they continued the plan for 10 episodes or if they decided, well, we did 9 on the first one, we're doing 9 on the second.
Either way.
Little is known about that one, but we also knew little about the first season until literally it started coming out. Like we only saw snippets and clips, and it honestly didn't help us at all.
No.
Like we knew like Marvel Zombies was going to make an appearance.
Yep.
But like we didn't know we didn't know anything about it. We
knew Marvel Zombies. We knew that
Captain Carter.
We knew that the Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be with T'Challa.
T'Challa, isn't it
T'Challa. Yep.
T'Challa was going to be Star-Lord.
Yep.
And I think those were the only ones that were for sure known. Oh no, I think we knew Vision was going to be Ultron.
Yeah. We knew.
I don't think we knew the full details of it, but we saw that Vision wasn't Vision; it was Ultron.
Yep, we knew Ultron, and I don't remember if we knew that there was going to be an evil strange or not. But for some reason, I think it sounds familiar. But either way,
we knew that there was going to be a strange specific one. I don't think we necessarily knew it was going to be evil right away.
Right.
We knew, like he looked demonic, but I don't think it was obvious he was evil.
Yeah.
At least from the trailer, anyway.
I'm just looking forward to it. The season 1 was so good. I have just such high expectations for season 2, and it's going to bite me in the butt.
Well, no, I think the big thing for me was I think what really made it so great was the fact that I thought season 1 was going to be all individual stories.
And then they all tied it together.
And it all tied together, and I think that's what threw me off, which made it, in my opinion, even better.
Yeah.
Not to say that it wasn't good by itself, but I'm just saying that I think that extra piece added to it.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's going to be the Marvels on July 28th, which we're going to have the 3 Marvel women coming in. Very little is known about that. All we know is all 3 are going to be starring in it. So Miss Marvel, I think her character's name is going to be Spectrum, which is Romanoff? No, not Romanoff. Oh my gosh. I can't think of it. But anyway, she was the one from WandaVision. Was it Monica? No.
Yes.
Anyway, not the point of the story. She's gonna be in it, and then so will Captain Marvel. We're gonna have to know more in general, but we'll figure that out.
Mm,
Loki, summer of this year, supposedly. We've been waiting a
cannot
long
wait.
time for season two,
Cannot
and
wait.
frankly, super excited about it. Morbius, I think, is 100% confirmed in it.
Yeah, he has to be.
Well, no, I think there was speculation on whether he was going to be in it or not because of the whole multiverse issue. But I
It might
think it's
not
been.
be. It might not be the Morbius that we know from season one.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is I don't think it was clear that Owen Wilson was going to be in season two.
I
When
mean,
they
see,
announced when they announced season two, I don't think Morbius was 100% signed on.
that would be weird, just with the way, unless they decide to do like a little bit of a time jump, which is possible. But I mean,
No, correct. But I mean, like, what I'm getting at is it could have been like a different one where they didn't even have a Morbius. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm
well,
getting at is it
see
wasn't clear.
the reason why I'm saying it the way I'm saying it is because the way season one ended with Loki going to the Time Bureau and talking to Morbius and the head security guard, saying, and then they were like, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" In my head,
Correct.
it's like that wouldn't make sense to them. Just cut them out. But I think I've seen footage of Owen Wilson with Loki.
No, he is now. But what I'm saying is originally it wasn't guaranteed that he was going to be it. The only ones that were 100% confirmed right away were Loki and Kang.
No, no. I'm glad that he
And
can
now
be in it because it gives him another chance to get his jet ski.
he better get his jet ski. Um, then the next one after that is supposedly Craven the Hunter. That's a Sony one. October 6th. Um,
They're gonna.
not much.
Are they gonna? Okay, well, you're gonna say that not much is known about that. I was gonna say, are they gonna try to tie that to the MCU? But
I don't. No idea. I'm not going to even pretend like I know. I want to say no, but that's not that. I mean, we thought the same thing with Venom, and now we were wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think they were going to tie that particular Venom in.
well, if this is
And they
gonna be, I think I remember them saying they wanted to make a Venom verse. So if that's gonna be tied into Venom in that
correct,
story, it's going to automatically be tied into the MCU.
correct. So, but I don't think it's going to be like directly involved with the MCU. I think it's
Yeah,
going to be part of the multiverse.
yeah,
It's not going to be Earth 616. It's going to be something else.
yep.
We also have after that X-Men 97, which is supposed to be a sequel series after the X-Men the animated series, and that's coming out the fall of this year. Other than the fact that we know it's supposed to take place right after what happened in the final season, not much is known. I think most of the voice actors that are like their characters confirmed to be in it, they're voicing their character again, which I think is cool. And then these last three, one for sure is 100% pushed back to 2024, but the other two are not confirmed. Although there's been talk about pushback, just like everything else. So Ironheart, Agatha, Agent of Chaos, and Echo. Echo is the only one 100% confirmed for next year, 2024. Ironheart and Agatha are still considered to be the end of 2023, but I don't think they're going to do the two of them at the end of the year. They're only going to do one, and I would imagine they'd push the other one to the new year. But neither has been confirmed on like an actual date yet. Ironheart is going to follow the story of Ironheart, obviously, her going back to America after the events of Wakanda Forever. And then Agatha is supposed to be. This is going to be a weird one because I think it's supposed to. It's supposed to be Agatha now, but there's going to be a lot of like supposedly flashbacks of Agatha through the years. And one person that's been confirmed is I'm probably pronouncing her name wrong, just like everything else. Audrey Plaza. She's normally a comedian. She's supposedly playing the villain or another witch in Agatha, Agent of Chaos, and definitely very curious on that because it's not been confirmed that Wanda's going to be in it.
Oh, I thought it
Um,
was.
I think after, so those things I keep sending you about the cast, those aren't confirmed. Like they're not like actually like set in stone. Like they're what people are thinking, and they're like putting it in there. It's not like an actual casting. So
So
like the
I,
thought is she's going to be in it, but I don't think Marvel. I don't think is confirming it right now because they want everyone to assume that she's dead.
mhm.
Uh, so I imagine as it gets closer to it, they're going to like whether it be in like Loki or the Marvels, like they're going to hint that Wanda's alive or like some, you know what I mean? Like I imagine they're going to hint that she's alive before they announce that she's officially in Agatha.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um, would be my guess. I mean, they could do it beforehand, but I would think that would be stupid on their part because they're normally big on like keeping things, a secret.
Try to be.
So, yeah, as the best they can. I mean, nothing's going to be 100% secret. But I mean, even though people will speculate that they would assume, Wanda's going to be in it for obvious reasons. She's
Mhm.
going to be looking for help and guidance, but it's not been clear.
Yeah.
So definitely interesting to see that. The ones I'm most looking forward to right now, I mean, Ant-Man and the Wasp, that's right around the corner. Super excited about it. But for me also, it's What If, it's Loki, and it's Agatha. Honestly. Not that I'm not happy about the others, do not get me wrong, but like those are like my top right now.
Hmm.
But yeah, definitely looking forward to that in general. But
I
that's
think
pretty much.
I think for
Oh,
me
sorry.
it's Guardians, Ant-Man, Guardians, What If, and Loki. For me, just Agatha is so far out into the future, and like you said, we don't know much about it. I don't have much to get hyped about, other than I just love. I thought she was a great character from Wanda. That I can't wait to see more of her. But just because I don't know anything about it, I have nothing to get myself hyped about it.
Understood.
Um,
But I
Guardians
think
is
for
just
me,
because it's a closing of the chapter, and most of these actors are saying that they're done after this. Like Batista has already said that he's done. He's not going to be coming back anymore after Guardians 3.
yeah. I
But
mean, the rumor is it's going to be a new Guardians, like
yeah,
a new group of Guardians, which I mean, I don't think is going to. I mean, the whole idea is they're adding new cast.
yeah,
They're adding the next generation of characters, so it's not all that surprising. I mean, obviously disappointing because we're so used to these guys,
yeah,
but it's not. It's not the end of the world. Um, but yeah, so I'm definitely like always. Like I said, there were other stuff, but I didn't want to mention it because of all the pushbacks and everything else. There's no confirmation on when things are going to be now, especially for those that were scheduled to be in 2024.
yep,
They definitely stopped. They stopped announcing dates for past this year, um, just to be, I would imagine, on the safe side, but also to kind of reconfigure their timeline. That would be my guess.
yep,
Definitely looking forward to that. But the Agatha thing is just because if they're going to do the flashbacks, I'm super looking forward to seeing like almost literally colonial times where they were superpowered beings. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Like obviously it was supernatural, but I mean the idea of it starting with Iron Man, like even though yes, the Avengers started with Iron Man, and like that's when like the big surplus of like heroes came, but like there was always something around because we already knew that the Sorcerer Supreme existed, obviously during that
yep,
time. So there was other things around, but we didn't know. And obviously there was a Black Panther, all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like so, all this stuff existed. So it'd be interesting to see what the world was like, or if it was kind of like just kept a secret,
yeah,
or like everything else, it was kind of just like, oh, nobody believes you. Like, oh yeah, that person's a witch. Of course, come on.
mm, yeah,
You didn't see that person come out of a hole in the wall. What are you, stupid? Stop drinking. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. And I would imagine that'd be the case because you couldn't record it like you can now. You know what I'm saying? So like all that stuff, like Iron Man being spotted, seeing Thor. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff you can see now. Like there's cameras and everything else.
hmm.
All right.
I'm just
So
thinking
let's.
about you sitting there seeing someone come out of the wall, drinking, getting drunk, and being like, "Shut up, you're stupid," because I can see you doing it.
I don't think that'd be my initial reaction, personally. I think I'd actually freak out. But
If you're drunk, now you If you're
It
drunk,
depends.
you'd be like, dude, show me how to do it.
I'd probably run through the portal. Anyway, so that's actually the end of our main topics of stuff. So what we're going to be doing at the end of every episode is we're each going to be talking about an obscure character from our specialties. So for me, it's Marvel, and for Mike, it is DC. Now that does not mean that the two of us don't know the other, the other, but Mike is more grown up with and reading DC comics and stuff like that, and the movies and everything else. Where not that I didn't, but I didn't do it as much as I did with Marvel. Um, Personally, I mean, we can agree on that.
Oh yeah, I know.
So for mine, I'm gonna go first just because I felt like it. Uh, I'm gonna go with a woman by the name of
Ah,
Spiral. So, do you know who Spiral is, Mike?
Spiral? No.
Yep, she's a female with 6 arms. So she's a female with 6 arms, and the reason why I wanted to talk about her is because she's associated with one of my favorite characters in Marvel, and he has not made an appearance yet in any fashion except for the animated shows. There were a couple of animated X-Men movies, TV shows where he was in, but he has not had like a big a big moment. And so it's Mojo. So for those of you who don't know, Mojo is this like slime-like creature who is a movie producer in another universe called the Mojoverse, and he captures people from other universes to create incredible television because he's a genius. So he and I can't make this up. He is by far like everything that's bad about like the film industry and like entertainment industry in general. That's him. Like he's like, no, we're gonna have to have them do their own stunts, and if they die for real, guess what? It's great ratings. Like the ratings are gonna our supporters are gonna love it. Everything's gonna be great.
That's
And
awesome.
so yes. So anyway, he's not physically strong. So he has this woman, and I use that phrase generously because I know she's a woman, but I don't know what race she is. I don't know if she's human. But anyway, she is she was granted 6 arms through genetic and technological manipulation to her body, and so she was granted the 2 extra sets of arms. And so she's an expert fighter. She was once an actress, although she was once an actress in his films, and then she turned into more of a assistant for him. So she's basically the muscle. So she has the ability to use magical properties, teleport through dimensions, which helps him get his new actors. She's incredibly strong, but I don't think she's. So she has enhanced strength, but I don't think it's like it's super strong, but not like. I think she's like Colossus strength. So like she's not like super strong. Like she's not like Thor, Hulk, and stuff like that. But she's up there. Like she's not
Mhm.
She-Hulk, but like she could go possibly toe to toe with She-Hulk for a little bit. Um, so she has the enhanced strength, spellcasting ability, which, like I said, allows her to teleport through between dimensions, which helps her get the actors for Mojo, and she's an expert in weapons, specifically swords. So she is an expert in swordsmanship, and the reason why she is so talented with it, I mean, it's stupid when I say this, but it's obvious. It's because she has 6 arms. Like I know that sounds stupid, but like she is not only an expert in it, but like she's able to use it in a way that most people and most creatures can't because she has 6 arms. And I just find her hilarious because a lot of the times, even though she's like the assistant to Mojo, she's been portrayed as like I don't want to say the brains of the operation, but like she's the one who kind of is like, I don't think that's a smart idea. Like we're not gonna do that. Like let's why don't do you really want to do that?
You sure about that?
Like or she'd be like she'd say an idea and then he'd come up with it like 5 seconds later and say, I just had this idea. Like it is the greatest idea ever to existed, and I came up with it. Nobody else has ever said this ever. As after she has just said it, and then she'd be like, "It's a great idea. I think you should go." You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yep.
And I think the amount of comedy that can be a part of it is so great. I mean, it can be horror, it can be comedy, it can be both. I just like the idea of that multiverse, of that particular universe. But definitely looking for. I would love to see her in the MCU, mostly because if we have her, we're definitely going to have Mojo, who
Hmm.
I've been dying to see. But yeah, so she's my obscure character because she's not well known. She deals more with the X-Men because Mojo likes to steal the X-Men more. Now he's stolen, like he's taken Spider-Man and other characters like that, but like he's more known with the X-Men than he is with any of the others. And so like, oh, I should go by her real name too. Her real name is Rocket Rita, uh, and she is considered a warrior sorceress, which I find very weird. So when
Mm.
she first appeared, it was in Longshot #1. Now, Longshot is the name of a character in the Mojo universe, but also is the name of a show that Mojo produces and directs and writes and basically does. So he basically puts this guy who's named Longshot into this arena, and he basically like makes a set and everything else, and he films everything that happens. And if Longshot does great, yay! If he doesn't, oh, but he still gets the ratings either way.
He
So
still wins.
so yeah, so she's been in the Mojo universe just as long as Mojo, and Longshot. So the three of them have been like long-standing characters in that grouping. So definitely wanted to bring her up, mostly because I consider her more the brains of the operation than Mojo. Even though he's definitely like the face, grotesque as it is, like he claims to be the boss. She seems more of the boss than he is. But yeah, that's Spiral. So who do you got?
So mine isn't as detailed as yours. I just thought it was fitting because of our topic. So I knew we would be touching on it very, very briefly, so I thought would be fun to mention him. My character, his name is Vex. I don't know if I'm saying it right. It's Vext. He
I
is
would think so.
he's a deity. He is the god. He is the deity of mishap and misfortune. So he basically brings he basically brings bad luck everywhere he goes. So his origin, he was born on a, I don't know how to say his planet, so I'm not even going to bother. So he was born in the god deity world. He was banished from that because the gods decided that his powers were no longer useful and they didn't want him around anymore. So he was banished. After traveling, he ended up down in Earth where he tried to settle down. Tried to settle down, never worked because everywhere he went, he ruined it because of his bad luck. So he um like basically any significant earthly event that happened, it was his fault. Supposedly, he was at the place where he was at the Garden of Eden when they had the apple. All that stuff, everything that happened is his fault. And I just thought it was hilarious because his profile picture that I saw online is literally him just sitting in a little white room holding a glass of whiskey, pouring it into the bottle because he's just so depressed that he tries to have a happy life, and his powers is literally his weakness. And like anything that his powers of misfortune and misery is also affects him because he can't settle down anywhere because he just ruins it. And literally, that's the extent of everything that I've seen on him. He's had minor, very minor appearances where he's like anything that bad happened, blame him. And he was that his powers were so useless that his own people banished him because they didn't want him anymore.
So I'm going to ask this, and I'm assuming what it is, but I want to make sure I'm right on this. But what are his powers? Is it just bad luck?
Mishap and misfortune. He Vex. So he is the patron deity of mishap and misfortune.
Oh, so basically wherever he is, misfortune and mayhem will come.
Yeah, his
So he's like
power is uh is bad luck, and he
Yeah, so
doesn't have
he doesn't
any
have to
control
do
of it.
anything.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
doesn't have control of it.
he doesn't have to do anything with it. It just happens. So if
Yep,
they technically, if they wanted to use it, they'd send him to the planet first.
yep, pretty much. If they want to take over something, here, go over there.
Hey, we got this planet, and we want you to go there. Okay, but hear me out. Hear me out. I want you to go there. Do what you normally do. No, no, no. You won't bum them out. I promise. I promise. Go there. All right. Good. Good. All right. In like 3 years, we'll go there, and everything will be screwed up.
It'll be good. We'll be easy takeover.
That's hilarious.
But like I
But
said, I just saw the profile picture that I saw online. It was just him sitting in a room pouring a glass of whiskey because he's all depressed. I'm like, that's hilarious.
I like looking up obscure characters in both DC and Marvel, and I was worried you were gonna say one I knew, and that one I was like, I'm like, I wish I knew that one. You know what I'm saying? Like I was
Yeah.
like, how dare I not know that one? But yeah, 100%. So, for one, if you've been watching this long, thank you very much.
I'm
But
impressed.
yeah, really, so am I. But I'm definitely going to say this. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be posting this on Spotify, and so we're going to have the audio on Spotify, and then what we're going to be doing also is providing this in video aspect on YouTube as well. So the goal is both are going to be aired on the 15th. So this one is going to be on the 15th, and then the next one will be at the end of the month, which I believe is January 31st. Correct? I think I'm correct on that.
I think so.
Uh,
I don't know how many
so
days
anyway,
there are.
I know it's not awful. Yeah. So
I need to sing the song.
I got it. I got it. So anyway, so yeah, so the first one, which is this one right now, we'll be doing on the 15th, and the next one will be airing on the 31st. So we film it a couple of days before, just to make sure that we get what we need to do, edit some things if we need to, fix Mike's camera because it's always a mess. But
Listen, at least I have a background.
anyway, oh, no, the background I don't care. So anyway, thank you very much for listening. If you do like this, please, definitely subscribe. Hit the down. I think it's the download button on Spotify, so you keep track of when a new episode airs.
I didn't even
And
know
if
this was
not,
going on Spotify, so this is brand new news to me. I thought it was just going to YouTube.
no, I'm going to do both because I want it as a podcast as well. So anyway, we're going to be doing both of that. So it's definitely going to be on Spotify, and then we're going to have it on YouTube as well. YouTube, please make sure you like and subscribe. It's going to be under, I think it's going to be officially under Black Eel Podcast. I definitely will have more in the next episode if I change it slightly, if it's already taken, but I think that's definitely the one. But definitely, if you look up Black Eel overall, you'll definitely find us. Definitely looking forward to more episodes. And the next time, we're going to be probably talking more about stuff that's coming up. So probably more about Shazam and more about Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I'm
For
assuming
sure.
more. I'm assuming more Bad Batch as well.
Correct. We'll definitely be talking about more Bad Batch as well, mostly because that's still going to be going on. But for Marvel and DC, I think we're going to be focusing more on those because it's going to be coming so close to them coming out. Mike, do you have anything else to say?
No, not really. I mean,
All right. No, perfect. Thank you very much. We're going to be signing off. Thank you again. And like I said, more episodes. Have a good one.